A fan-made modification for The Witcher 3 of enormous scale is in the works. Electronic Arts reveals details about the first season of Battlefield 6. And of course, the drama has already started because they also showed off the skins. And there's more turmoil at studios whose recent projects have fallen short. All this and a few other smaller news items in today's video. I'm Patrick, and I warmly welcome everyone to a new news episode. Remember, videos are released practically every day. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the gaming industry. And now, let's get started. Let's start by discussing the first season of Battlefield 6. Because EA has presented exactly what they intend to add to the game. They invited all sorts of creators to check out the new features, let them play the new modes, try out the new maps, and test the latest weapons. As they announced earlier, the season will be divided into 3 stages. So let's start with the first one, which will come to the game on October 28th. It will be called Operation Rogue and will introduce a new map, Blackwell Fields. Now, in the background you can see gameplay showcasing this map. It looks quite nice, but it's hard to say for now how the balance between the teams will look here. Some of the basic maps have issues with this, so I'm curious to see how the developers will approach it here. The entire map takes place during what seems to be a sunset, which makes it very orange and quite dark in many spots, so we'll see how that affects spotting other opponents. Additionally, the game will feature a mode called Strike Point, where teams of 4 versus 4 in a more Counter-Strike-like format have to fight to capture a point. There are no respawns, so you just have to manage somehow. The first update will introduce a new rifle, a shorter version of the SCAR, a pistol, and a mini scout rifle that's supposed to be good for medium range. As for vehicles, an armored car will debut, which looks like this. But what about the Battle Royale mode, which according to unofficial information that people have pulled from the game files, was also supposed to debut on October 28th? Well, unfortunately, EA didn't address this topic during those presentations, so we don't know whether the mode has been internally postponed, or maybe they're just keeping all their cards close to their chest to surprise us with a new Battle Royale. The second major update will take place on November 18th and will introduce a new map called Eastwood. It's very green, full of tennis courts. We have a golf cart, which will be the new vehicle. The terrain is very flat. There are plenty of small houses here, places where you can hide, and some hills. As for new weapons, there will be guns that you can pick up from the battlefield. On top of that, there's a new shotgun and this short revolver. At the end of the first season, we can look forward to a winter event, which, as far as we know, will introduce winter skins on some maps, some ice axes. It's not yet known what their use will be. Let's hope it's not just simply a knife skin. When it comes to this update, the developers are staying quiet for now and we have the least information about it. However, a storm has erupted over the skins that were revealed as part of the Battle Pass, which will be introduced to the game with the first update on October 28th. It's no wonder that players are very distrustful when it comes to DICE's skins, since EA heavily emphasized in their marketing that, unlike the competition, the skins here would be very grounded, gritty, and military themed. There won't be any room here for things like Sergeant Kitty Kitty or other Nicki Minaj types. This is serious because we're a serious military series, not like those others, not like Call of Duty. And so, here are the new skins. You can see that for now, they're holding back from designing anything more extravagant. The top row in this picture looks really cool. I don't see anything here that would break immersion on the battlefield. Although lower down, we can already see some more flashy skins, which in my opinion are just there to test the waters, to see how far EA can go with them without causing an uproar. And so, quite a few people are picking on this guy, or even this guy. This guy is also getting a lot of flack. I think that if they toned down the colors here, it wouldn't really be much of an issue. People are even trying to remake these skins themselves to make them look better. To be honest, what I see on the right side makes me want to buy it much more than what I see on the left side. With this marketing campaign, the devs kind of put themselves in a spot where, on one hand, they want to make these military realistic skins, but on the other hand, no one is really going to buy yet another skin that just runs around in camo, right? No one is going to spend money on that. If someone wants to spend money on a skin's appearance, it has to stand out in some way. And creating a skin that on one hand really stands out, but on the other still fits the style of Battlefield 6 isn't that simple. But I think this is just them testing the waters. If this works, if it sells, there will be more of it, and there will probably be skins that push the boundaries of extravagance even further, to put it nicely. That's all for Battlefield. Let's move on. In today's episode, we'll discuss 2 studios whose latest games didn't deliver, and now they have to deal with changes in their structures. The first team is Massive Entertainment, which you might know from The Division, but unfortunately you might also know them from Star Wars Outlaws, a game that, unfortunately, did not perform particularly well on Metacritic, receiving a score of 75 from critics and a much lower 5.5 from players. Even though Ubisoft, a well-known video game publisher, had an incredibly strong and recognizable brand in the Star Wars franchise, they still did not manage to sell enough copies for the game to break even or make enough money to keep the studio afloat. Instead of admitting, okay, we made a weak game, so it didn't sell well, even though we had a great franchise, the Ubisoft CEO said that Star Wars Outlaws didn't sell too well because the Star Wars brand was going through tough times. I don't need to say that this is a pretty lame excuse. Even though Disney is currently neglecting Star Wars, it's still a very strong brand, as proven by several recent series premieres, like Andor, which made a huge splash. This community is still alive, and if your game has the Star Wars label, you can be sure that there will already be a player base, potentially a pretty large one, interested in your production. And if they end up liking the game, they would recommend it to others, the momentum would build, and more copies would be sold. But what actually happened was that fans bought the game, tried it out, saw that it was crap, and didn't recommend it to anyone. But that's just it. As a result of this financial success of Outlaws, Massive Entertainment announced layoffs. The statement is written in such corporate language that when I read it, I had no idea what it was about. They called the layoffs a voluntary career transition support program. To ensure this transition is handled properly, we have introduced a voluntary career transition support program. It gives eligible individuals the opportunity to take the next step in their careers on their own terms, with the help of a package that includes financial support. But no, they're always assholes, right? Now they want to focus on the ongoing evolution and long-term planning of the recently reorganized teams and resources in order to strengthen their action plan and maintain continued focus on the Division series. This includes the Snowdrop engine and Ubisoft Connect, which power our games. The second studio undergoing reorganization is Remedy, which you probably love for their single-player games, like Alan Wake or Control. Unfortunately, they recently bit off more than they could chew and released a multiplayer game called FBC Firebreak. This is what the interest looks like on Steam. 2,000 at peak 4 months ago. 12 players right now. This led to the company's CEO Teo Vertala parting ways with Remedy after 9 years. A fan-made modification for The Witcher 3 of enormous scale is in the works. So what is this modification that could give The Witcher 3 a new lease on life? Well, it's supposed to tell a story about Geralt, set between the second and third parts. Geralt's goal is to find the missing Vesemir. He then ends up in Waryuga, located on the border with Kedwen. In the gameplay that was shown, we can see this very location. It looks quite large. There are several settlements here. Some forests, some castles, some ruins, and so to speak, a mountain horizon. The modification is titled The Last Sacrifice, and the creators have been working on it for about a year now. The team consists of 20 people, so it's not just some tiny project. The creators of this mod are aiming for more of a Balkan vibe. You can see this, for example, in the way some of the NPCs are dressed. As for the number of new quests, there will be as many as 20. The Last Victim will be available in both Polish and English, and the creators don't want to use artificial intelligence here. They want to use real voices. I'm curious whether they'll go for professional actors or just recruit a few people from among their friends. The description of The Witcher 3. The Last Victim sounds really cool. I'd even say it's damn cool, but we have to remember that this is a modification. It's a team of enthusiasts who are probably working on this mod in their spare time and don't get anything out of it except appreciation from fans. Such large-scale mods don't always come to fruition. Even though I'm really rooting for it, when it comes out, I'll definitely be playing it non-stop. But we have to remember that the creators need a lot of determination and strong will to finish such a project, so they don't give up somewhere along the way, right? So that nothing falls apart, so there aren't any arguments or disputes about the vision for how it should look. That's all for today. Take care. See you next time.